You know what's funny? Since we know him as a wrestler, I feel like it's weird seeing him with a shirt on.
Yeah, it's weird seeing him clothed. Do you think at the end of the movie he
Tapes
like
his wrist.
well he tells like whatever it is that's in the house? He's just like he's like this sucks. This place is a joke. Clown, and he leaves the house.
I think he's about to get jizzed on. He's about to get jizzed on.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh yeah! Oh man! Vince must have seen this.
That's some good shit.
He got jizzed on.
He's gonna jizz. He's gonna.
The house jizzed on him. He's.
Is it a dream or is it a ghost? Fucking. Oh.
He got colored. He got colored. What the
Hello, my little angel.
Are you kidding me?
I'm the one sleeping.
Yo, that finish, bro. That finish. Oh my god. Oh man. Oh man.
Quick impressions. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they could have left like 100 times. I would have left the house. I mean,
The first time I got jizzed on would have been the last time I got.
Any of the fluids that would have gotten all over me, I would have been done. I would have been like, all right, I'm out of this place. But
welcome to another episode of World Championship Cinema. This episode we do the girl on the third floor. We're still tweaking with the format. My quick thoughts on the world around us. Last week we did No Holds Barred. We taped that before Hogan appeared at the RNC. And even before he appeared at the RNC, I don't know if you noticed, but I do have a disdain for that person. SummerSlam. I saw SummerSlam. Well, I only saw like 2 matches of SummerSlam. I can't watch WWE PLEs live because if it's a 4-hour show and there's only 7 matches and there's so much filler in between, I can't waste my time doing that. From what I saw, the Gunther Damian Priest match was really good, and the Solo Sikoa Cody Rhodes match was so predictable. Like every single run, and like I feel like WWE is just now. All it is just entrances where people sing the songs. When the bell rings, fans are on their hands, not giving the athletes, who, yes, they are world-class athletes. I don't want to sound like I'm disparaging the performers because they are the best athletes on the planet. But with that said, when you watch the match, it's just music, people singing, dancing. The bell starts, the match begins, people could not give a and then they're just waiting for the entrance. They're just waiting for run-ins. Or at least that's how I see with the Bloodline matches. It's just entrances and run-ins. That's it. Nothing else matters. And somehow, give them credit, they somehow milked this for like 3 years now? I mean, I stopped caring 3 weeks in, but here we are. 3 years later, they're still milking it for all it's worth. I saw Deadpool and Wolverine, obviously with the rest of the planet. I'm not going to give a spoiler. There's plenty of other videos that give spoilers and that. All I'm going to say is that Hugh Jackman cut the promo of the year on Deadpool when they were in the car. Give that man an Oscar just for that scene. Just for that scene in the car, that promo, give Hugh Jackman the Oscar. G1 Climax, I think we're on night 10 or 11. My personal MVP is Gabe Kidd, followed by Zach. I mean, Naito's still my favorite wrestler, but time comes for us all. Shingo still killing it. Suji killing it. Takeshita, Hanare, I can pretty much name almost every single wrestler on the rosters, killing it. So if you're not watching the G1, please do. Give it come on. It's New Japan. Best wrestling on the planet. We're gonna cut this episode into 2 parts because I'm trying to keep the podcast max 30 minutes, give or take. Like in my head canon, like I want you guys to listen to this podcast on the way to work, or if you're at home at the end of the day, then give her a watch there. But so this episode's a 2-parter. We do The Girl on the Third Floor, and with my boy Pat and I love to talk a lot. Part 2, we do a lot of talking about independent wrestling in New Jersey, more or less. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. That's all I'm gonna say. Just thank you guys.
World Championship Cinema, what the world is listening to.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the World Championship Cinema Podcast. I am your host, Diego Santos, and with me is...
PaddyRican, man. From the Child Actors. I've known Diego quite some time. I don't know. That's a hell of an introduction, but we are here. We're in my boudoir. We're in the penthouse over here, overlooking the greatest city in the world, New York City. And it's an absolute privilege and a joy to be on this show with you.
We want to explain to everybody what are the Child Actors?
The Child Actors are a band. Yeah, I'm saying it like if they fucking know. Like, hey, come on, guys. The Child Actors. Well, Child Actors are a band that I'm in. It's myself. It's Mr. Chris Kick and Jason Malarchek. That is the current lineup of the Child Actors. The best lineup, in my opinion, of the Child Actors. We're going to have some music coming out. Made a music video called Quarantine Sing-Along. We secretly hate it, but, we made it. So, like, what are we going to do? Like, not promote it? Like, it's fucking stupid. Child Actors are my band, and I've been making music now with them for about 4 years. I was previously in a band called the Hudson County Scumbags, that's basically what I've been doing. Gas Mask Maniacs too with CC Saurus Rex. Shout out to CC on the podcast. Yeah, man. So just a local musician. Been doing the thing for quite some time. And my latest band's the Child Actors, and we're hanging out here, and we got Winks.
Winks in the house.
Yeah, Winks really likes you. She's Winks is my cat, and she's biracial. And so yeah.
So what movie are we reviewing today?
We are reviewing Girl on the Third Floor. Motion picture came out in 2019, a horror movie starring none other than the cult of personality himself, Mr. Honorary Puerto Rican, I might add. He's married to a Puerto Rican, so I like to call him Carlos Miguel Punk.
Carlos Miguel Punk.
And
whenever you said that, I'm just like, what is he? Is that a nickname I never knew? That explains it.
No, he's an honorary Puerto Rican. He's been to the island, he's got respect for the Puerto Rican culture, so, he's married to a Puerto Rican. He's a Puerto Rican, he's Carlos Miguel Punk. But, Punk's in the movie, and, man, I mean, where do we begin with this? Where do you want to begin with this?
All right, This movie is probably the most competent, well-made movie in the history of this podcast. And I was surprised because, it's a shitty... I'm expecting a shitty horror movie starring a wrestler, indie, shitty horror movie that's, on Tubi, and it's, I was expecting, I don't know, it's terrible. And to be honest, this movie exceeded any expectation I had and all expectations I had. What's your opinion?
Well, it had me checking every outlet in my house for any type of sputum, any type of discharge or goo. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. There's a couple times. I mean, obviously, we're watching it as people who have seen CM Punk as a wrestler. And you brought up a really good point about how it's odd to see him with clothes on because you're used to seeing him in gear all the time, and it is kind of true. It's like, oh shit. I mean, or something that isn't his merch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is kind of odd, but I don't know. I mean, I thought he was good in the role. Definitely had the Bruce Campbell vibes.
Yeah, I was telling him earlier that he looks both younger and older than Bruce Campbell in this movie. It, what I wanted to say was there was a lot more jizz in this movie than I expected, and in case you don't know, if you haven't seen the movie, there will be spoilers because it's a podcast about a movie. So what do you expect?
Yeah, it's a spoiler alert. Like, you know, maybe watch the movie so you can hear a funny review about it. That's kind of the joke. That's the essence of it. So, you know, do your research, man.
What was with the jizz? Like blood and stuff I get, but like it was the girl on the third floor. So, and the movie had a wallgina. So if you haven't seen it yet,
Yeah.
a wallgina.
And it's spat marbles.
And
Or a marble.
no, I usually see ping pongs coming out of. these
Yeah. It was definitely the ping pong effect, which kind of makes sense if you think about it because the place was a brothel.
Yeah.
So there was probably some freaky shit going on, and you're thinking like back in the day, maybe turn of the century or something like that. You know, you got fucking chicks shooting marbles out of their pussy, but then the fucked up part is that there's a little kid running around. That's where it takes a turn for the worse, if you will. But you know, I mean, I guess it's, you know, the sputum, the jism that was coming from the outlets and various orifices throughout the house. Maybe somebody even might have fucked the house. We don't know because there was a lot of holes in the house, and you know,
There's some hoes in this house.
there's sick
some
freaks
holes in
everywhere.
this house.
There's some sick freaks everywhere.
That's how the song goes, right?
Yeah.
There's some holes in this house. There's some holes in this house.
Oh man, so you know, I think that because it was a brothel, that's why the jism was coming out of the outlets. But then, you know, where did the black goo come from? You know, what about like the organs in the wall? You know, you kind of mentioned that was like a little bit of a Lovecraftian thing there.
Because, you know, during the opening credits, the movie says it has 3 writers based on a story by 2 other people. And normally, when a movie has too many chefs in the kitchen, that's never a good sign. So that was another reason why, like, as the credits were going, like, this movie is gonna be terrible. And like I said, so far, I'm gonna say it's the best movie we've ever reviewed on this podcast. Then again we've done No Holds Barred.
Oof, that's tough. You got to get Roadhouse in there. That's like the
Actually,
one.
I did Roadhouse with I'm actually gonna, because in this podcast, now that we're talking behind the scenes about making of a podcast,
Terry Funk was in it.
trying to release one episode a week of the new stuff we're doing now, and re-releasing old episodes. And one of the older episodes was Roadhouse with Tough Tim Hughes from Ring of Honor in South Jersey.
Nice.
Yeah, good dude.
Nice, but the OG with Terry Funk.
Yeah, the thing. That's the one we did.
Oh, okay.
I haven't seen the new one yet.
Terry Funk. He put out probably the greatest album by a wrestler. You know, that's my shit, Terry Funk impersonation. But no,
For real? I thought Terry goes here.
Nah. The Great Texan. You got to listen to it. It's
if anything,
folks.
If anything, we're gonna make a T-shirt. The Funk on the Third Floor.
The Funk on the Third Floor. By the way, nice shirt. I gotta say.
Oh,
I gotta compliment he's wearing the band shirt. He's wearing the gimmick. I appreciate that. So
I've changed shirts to pop
Pinky's
him.
on that one. We gotta lock that one up. You know,
Yeah.
that's the child. That's our too sweet. The Pinkies.
Oh, is it?
You know, gimmick infringement. But yeah, I mean, the one thing I gotta say I did not like about this movie, and you know where I'm going with this, is the trope, the tired trope in the horror movies.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
The second I saw him, the second Punk cut the promo on him, it's like, you gotta stay or get the fuck out. I was like, the brother's gonna die first.
Yeah.
And then again, this movie had a pretty low body count.
It did. It surprisingly did. But I guess in the grand scheme of things, it had a really high body count. You know what I mean? Because, you know, people died in the house. Although, then again, what? You know, you got the little girl, but the little girl didn't die in the house. She kind of haunted it, right? And then, the one chick that was buried in the house, CM Punk, the brother, R.I.P.,
and Cooper, played by the great Riker.
Cooper, played by Riker, that's right. Shout out to Riker, man. Riker's trying to get them IMDb credits up. You know, what do you think he's going for? What do you think he's angling for? Because he put in a shift in this movie. You know, he did. As Cooper, and he met an ill fate. Ill fate.
Yeah, not many movies, not many horror movies are got the cojones to off a dog.
Yeah, they went there. They put the fucking dog in the dryer. I mean, that's there's no other way to fucking put it other than that. So that was it. It made CM Punk puke.
Yeah,
You know.
So those puke.
I'm sorry, Phil Brooks, because CM Punk would not approve of this movie. Because
I think maybe that's why.
Yeah.
I think that's why he was like, since the character drank, he's
Yeah.
like, oh, the character's drinking.
Yeah.
Put in Phil Brooks.
Phil Brooks is drinking.
and I bet you if he's acting in a movie where the character's straight edge, then he'll keep it CM Punk.
Yeah.
There you go. We broke through.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking because he was in that show, the biker show, the Mayans,
Uh-huh.
and his character drank. So I'm wondering what he's listed under.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he probably is listed as Phil Brooks. I mean, you got to think that as far as heels is concerned, he's probably going by CM Punk. I mean, it would make the most sense, wouldn't you think?
Yeah.
You know, but he was a naughty CM Punk. He was a naughty Phil Brooks. He was drinking. He smoked marijuana. He smoked marijuana. All right. He had extramarital affairs.
With a ghost.
With a ghost. He fucked a ghost. Shout out to Rage Hall. You know, he what else did he do?
He ate meat.
He ate meat. And, you know,
Because there was a time where he became vegan too, right?
yeah, well, I think he was just a veggie. You know, I think he was a veggie. I think he was trying to lean out, you know, or something like that. Because that's what them dudes do unless they're about it, you know, ethically, you know, and all that jazz. But you know, Punk was up to no good, man, and I like the whole premise of the house, you know, being a brothel and fucked up shit going on there, and the ghost chick, Sarah, you know, like, you know, the interaction, the way they kind of made it seem, I kind of dug, where it just looked like it could have been a neighborhood chick or something.
Yeah.
You know,
she had modern clothing for the most part.
Yeah. No Beetlejuice rules here. You know, like the ghosts can go outside the house. You know, no sandworms.
Yeah, those go outside the house. Ghost could change clothes.
She cannot jump through trains like other ghosts in Ghost. You know what I mean? She won't put something in your drink like Ghost Dad. So, you know, as far as like ghost rules are concerned, you know, that was kind of the ghost rules of this movie.
What I like to say about this movie is, you know how it's my sign of a good horror movie is that it did have a low body count, but I was never really bored. You know, obviously during the setup, you know, the mind is kind of wandering, but like eventually, I was hooked through this movie. Like I said, I'm shocked at how good it was. Like usually, you know, we come on, hit record, and like let's start riffing. Let's make fun of this. Let's make fun of that. Like, oh look, the actor flubbed the line, and you know they kept it going because they couldn't afford a second take.
Well, I think for the movie, you know, the kind of movie that it was, which is an indie horror movie, I think they accomplished exactly what they were looking for. I think it was, you know, to the point. And I like the story. I like the way it wrapped up. I like there was a happy ending. You know, I got a little worried there. I thought they were gonna kill the pregnant chick. I was like, ah, man, you know, he killed the dog.
Because she did exactly. I think that's why they killed the dog, because they're like, yeah, we'll kill anybody. We'll kill a dog. We'll kill the pregnant woman. You know, obviously we're gonna kill the brother because it's a horror movie.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Oh,
is that right?
Is that Cooper? Yeah.
Yeah, that's he's looking for another credit. He wants to be on this show.
It's a good thing we have our guard cat on duty.
Yeah, she's looking for that in lasers.
But yeah, so like it's because when the pregnant lady who's in that TV show Banshee that I'm currently watching, she slips on the marbles, and I was expecting her to take a back bump, but nope, she did a front bump, and the camera made it look like she fell over the banister when she caught herself, but the angle made it look like, there she goes. And I was just gonna be like, balls. Like obviously, if the movie has so much jizz, it definitely has balls.
I was expecting like she's gonna go straight down, pile drive herself,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
neck.
That's what I was
You know,
thinking.
yeah.
Once, because that's what helped with the angle of the.
But they cut the baby out or some fucked up shit, you know, some like shit. Now, but they didn't.
I've seen some indie zombie movies that did that.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, if you've seen any indie horror movies, any cult horror movies within the last, 30 years, 35 years,
They're trying to like ape Evil Dead.
yeah, I mean, everybody's tried to copy Evil Dead. Evil Dead is Evil Dead. I did like the series, though. I did like you see the Evil Dead theme here. I think it's because Punk looked like, you know,
young.
yeah, he kind of had the Bruce thing going on.
I mean, Evil Dead does not fall under our
And he was
rules,
getting
but
liquids and all
you
these
know
other
what?
things put in his face, you know, like fucking like Bruce does. Bruce gets all that blood in his face, all the fucking, you know. So that's kind of interesting there. But yeah, you know, I agree.
And,
Not the same rules.
The thing about Evil Dead is, I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, it's I think it's, in my opinion, the only horror franchise, even if you include a TV show, that doesn't have a bad entrant.
Yeah, man. It really doesn't, man.
Like, I know people might have their gripes with like the reboot and sequel or whatever, but you cannot say it's a bad movie.
No, not at all. It's exactly what it needed to be, man. It was a campy horror movie, and it was serious enough that it was good. It was, you know, it was believable in a sense, and it was campy enough where it was like appealing and could kind of ironically get out to a broader audience. And look at what it ended up doing. Look at what it ended up becoming. I mean, they made it a fucking franchise, and you know, Bruce Campbell it was just a perfect marriage of a lot of things. You know, I love the low special effects, you know, like the fucking, you know, the makeup, the stuff that they did, you know, like real fucking low budget shit, you know, but they made it work, and the tone of the film, you know, was good. And I really like the cinematography in this film. I like the stuff with the mirrors.
With the mirrors, I was just gonna bring it up. Like,
Yeah.
like there's a scene where like it's like from the POV of the dumbwaiter goes up and the doors open and
Yeah.
boom. So
Yeah.
I'm looking it up right now on IMDb.com, and it's saying that this movie.
The shots with like the wallpaper, you know what I mean, with
Yeah,
with like
this
people looking in the mirrors, like it was great. And you know, a lot of the foreshadowing, the stuff in the background,
Yeah.
like when you would see the ghosts, or you know, like
Mm.
really cool,
So
man.
okay, so here we go. So you know when I was talking about the credits, that was written by 3 people, based
Yeah.
on a story by 2 people.
Yeah,
Based on a story, I don't know why they didn't put it, but it's based on a true story.
really.
Yeah. So this house and they shot it in the real house.
Really?
It was shot in the real haunted house that's believed to have the ghosts of 2 girls in the house.
Wow.
So like right now, like my mind is fucking blown. So
Shut the fuck up. That's wild. Yeah, man. That's bananas. Wow. Wow. I can't believe that. That's cool though. You know, that kind of adds another effect to it. You know,
that's like shooting the Amityville Horror
in the
in
Amityville
actual
horror.
place. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That's ballsy too.
Yeah.
You gotta kind of admit that. I feel like that's something that should kind of be promoted a little bit more.
Yeah, like that should be like
Yeah.
based on a true story. And guess what? We had the balls. Like I said, this movie, since that's so much jizz, this movie has the balls.
Wow. Yeah. No, it does. It does. It does have the balls, and it does have the sputum, and it does have the strange substances. You know, it's got a lot of moving bodies. You know, and but it kept me interested, man. I dug it up until the end. I thought Punk did good.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Like, to be honest, you know.
He played Don Koch, he's an asshole. He's a fucking asshole, Don Koch.
So,
you know?
so the character's nickname is King Don.
King Don.
You know.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that's where one of the writers came in. Like, that was probably like a script for like a different movie.
Yeah.
This whole King Don
King
character.
Don.
It's probably like a script from a different movie, and now they're like, I can never make this movie, so I'll just combine it with this script.
King Don.
King
yeah.
Don.
King Don and Don King.
Yeah, but yeah, so I just got thrown off by the nickname King Don. So to be honest, like, you know, I think he's a huge megastar, and my opinion on him doesn't matter. But man, I'm glad he's happy right now. I hope he's happy right now, and I hope he stays happy.
I think he is, man. I mean, look, you know, for as much as he went to AEW for all the right reasons, I think the culture is different than the culture that he knew. I think those guys were brought up different in the business, were taught different in the business.
Like the California,
Like the California boys, yeah. Because like in theory, like Punk's like an East Coast indie guy. You know what I'm saying? Because Punk came from the Midwest. You know, he was doing shit in IWA Midwest, and he was doing good stuff. And he came out here. He went to Shakara. You know, he went to Jersey All Pro. You know, he went to all the big indies out here. You know, and then all the stuff he did in Ring of Honor. But it was all East Coast shit. It was all East Coast shit because East Coast independent wrestling, you know, from the top to the bottom, is the best independent wrestling in the country. Period. You know, West Coast stuff is good, Midwest stuff is good, but this is the cream of the crop. You know, this is where all the best wrestled. See what I did there? But you know, I just think Punk is more old school. I think these guys, you know, the way they communicate can come off a certain way if you're used to a certain type of thing. You're also thinking in your head, you know, how would I be if I was this young wrestler? You know, I'm sure he took all that into consideration. It's an unfortunate incident what happened. But, you know, I just think that, look, there's nothing wrong with being the number 2 company. And you don't have to be the number 1 company. And they're providing enough of an alternative where they do bring in an audience for themselves.
Yeah, so one thing I'll say about AEW, if AEW didn't exist, WWE wouldn't be this hot right now.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. And I also think that AEW existing is good for the boys, is good for the girls, is good for everybody involved in the business because you got other people making money elsewhere and, you know, they're getting the exposure that they would be getting in WWE realistically, you know, like you're on TV in prime time weekly, you know, there's no difference there. But yeah, man, it's unfortunate it didn't work out, and I just think WWE's more in his wheelhouse right now because of his age, and I think he's just looking to work with fucking professional people to make fucking money, and, you know, obviously, you know, he's had a lot of injuries and stuff like that, so he's got to take care of himself and stuff like that, but I'm sure he's doing what he's got to do, and, you know, he's turning out some of the best stuff character-wise
that
he hasn't wrestled,
right? He
had one match, he got hurt in the match in the Royal Rumble, and all this time, him and Drew and Drew's been hurt too throughout the process. And these guys have been creating some incredible stuff, some compelling shit. You know, really, you know, now that, you know, Roman's out of the equation with the whole bloodline thing, the best angle in the company because they're working it so well. Drew's talking shit online, you know, Punk showing up. It's real. It's got an old school feel. You know, it's got a real old school feel. Like, I hate you so much, I'm gonna fucking cost you every championship opportunity you have. Like, that's great. You know, it's like some Terry Funk shit. You know.
Yeah.
And I dig it, but, you know, it's unfortunate it didn't work out in AEW. He had some good matches while he was there. If I'm honest, I didn't like all his stuff. I thought his stuff with MJF was really good. You know, I thought the matches with Joe were good for what they were for. The Darby match was actually really good, I gotta say.
That was like his first.
Yeah, his first match, which I just didn't think, you know, like, you gotta have him come in hot. Like, I don't know, he's a big star. But whatever, that's what Tony chose to do. And, you know, the match itself was good, you know, but he generated the most money that they've made.
Yeah.
He's generated their first $1 million gate. They haven't gotten a rating higher since the one that he's been there. You know, he did good shit for them, but it just didn't work out. I just think it's different philosophies of how people want to use the medium of professional wrestling. That's all. That's probably the most diplomatic way I could put that. You know.
My only issue was, well, my main issue was in the video with Jack Perry. Was Jack had his hands in it right here when the first shot was thrown.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that's like a sucker punch because the kid has hands right here, and, you know, all that hair. By the time he's like,
he was touching his hair a lot in that video. He was touching his hair a lot. You know, I could see why somebody would say that, but I think that, you know, that had been building for so long, and there was probably a lot of incidents other than the ones that he talked about, and just overall general vibes probably between them that, you know, kind of led to that. The other thing too is he's friends with the Young Bucks. You know, it's no surprise. All them West Coast dudes are together. And Punk had his issue with the Young Bucks. it seemed that he and Kenny resolved their stuff, you know, from what people say.
Yeah. So
And that's good, you know, and that's great and stuff like that. But you know, it just didn't work out there, and that's life. And now, you know, they're doing their thing, and Punk's doing his thing, and you know, what else could you ask for? At least he's back. At least he's still around. At least there's two companies. At least there's all this shit to watch. At least you can watch internet on the, fucking wrestling on the internet. Remember back in the day, Diego, right? You remember that shit, you know? It was TV, and then you had to go to a fucking wrestling show to get VHS tapes.
If you missed it, you fucking missed it.
You missed it. Unless you recorded it, yeah. Unless you had a VCR.
That was before DVR existed. Is DVR even a thing anymore?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
It's all on the streaming stuff, you know. You get it on.
Yeah, but
they should pay us. They should pay you.
So this podcast is definitely not a tribalism one outside of New Japan. That's my number one. If I was ever to get a tattoo, it might be the lion mark. Yeah. But I'm never getting.
I can respect that. I can respect because you know what, New Japan truly is where the best wrestle.
That is the best.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know,
it's funny. Sure. I did get kind of sidetracked once. I remember, the whole tribalism thing, and I just always ignored it. And I realized I almost got involved once. One time I was scrolling on the Twitter, and I almost never comment on Twitter. Like I almost never post on Twitter.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, and then back in the day, I'll see some people bashing Mercedes Moné back, like Sasha Banks sucks, and I'm just like shrug my shoulders and keep it going. But when she showed up at the Tokyo Dome and the botched that whatever, and someone's like, oh, she botched, she sucks. I'm like, I was about to comment, you leave my New Japan crew.
That's fucking great.
But then I didn't hit send. Man. I just you know what, just close this app because it's.
I used to hate it. I used to hate the tribalism, man. I really did, and again, I just think it's how people choose to use wrestling, man, and what they choose to present.
Yeah, because me personally, I always just had my favorites. Like even during the peak of the Monday Night Wars.
Oh yeah.
I was ECW, I was ECW through and through. Like I have I have a ton of ECW stories. Well, and I've never been like, oh, since I like ECW, I'm gonna hate WCW and I'm gonna hate WWF. Right, I would look down on them, but I wouldn't be like, oh fuck.
I love it all.
Steve Austin, with that talentless hack.
Oh man, that talentless hack that wrestled the Great Muta. You know what I'm saying?
But I'm just saying,
he could go. You know.
No, I mean to be honest, I was a huge fan of Steve Austin back in Stunning Steve Austin, and to when the Hollywood Blonde, Dangerous Alliance, Hollywood Blondes, Robert Parker. Mm-hmm. And then the little hiccup in ECW I actually hated, but I mean in the long run, as an adult, I was like, oh, okay, it was a pretty good run because he didn't really wrestle.
It worked out for him though. For
that was his excursion that really set the foundation for Stone Cold.
Yeah.
But back to this, something that's related to this movie.
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna go first, and then you'll go second.
Okay.
Recommending a match featuring CM Punk that predates his WWECW run. So I guess 2005 and below? Because whenever WWECW started.
Gotcha. Okay.
So before he signed that contract.
Okay.
So we're going before that. So me personally, because I'm picking this because I was there.